Listen, everyone.
You're listening to StageCraft.
StageCraft on WERA. Let's do it, Joe.
All right. This is my friend here. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, now we got the groove.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You're listening to
You want-
StageCraft.
StageCraft on WERA. Let's do
Yeah.
a roll call. This is Wilfredo Morales.
Joe?
Hello, my name is Joe Carabeo.
I'm Catherine Riccio.
And I'm Don Zantera.
Did you just
Sure.
follow his lead? And
Right.
Well, I was
Wow.
following your lead.
That is
Chasing each other's
incredible.
tails, I guess. Yeah. No, that's how the fun of music. Sometimes, it's courtesies. Like I tip my hat, he tips his hat, and there's like these cues and social cues that
You're
help.
so in sync. It just sounds like you rehearsed. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I think that's really what I enjoy about because I just met you.
Yes. Right. Right.
So
How'd you
basically,
do?
our instruments have met. Is that your bass, right?
Well, actually, this is Don Zantera's bass here.
Oh, it's your bass, Don?
Yeah, I usually bring an upright bass to the show, but I was just finishing up a project and just bolted out the door. And yeah, Don, can you give us a little history on this P bass? What's the story?
Actually, it's an insurance bass that I got. I had originally at the studio one bass. I usually just keep one bass there. I mean, why keep a lot of them? I'm not a bass player at all. But I had Jawbox's bass, Kim's bass, and she sold it to me. And I had it in the closet there, by at the end of the hall, and for years and years and years. And then one day I went to take out the bass for some reason or other, and the case seemed kind of light. The bass was gone.
It's so sad.
Yeah, it is. That's the way it goes. But, well, and of course, you never look inside the case if it's just there and you don't need it.
Yeah.
You just look at it, okay, the bass is there, great, I don't need a thing. But, of course, I reported it, and I had a guy from the company do a really good job finding this bass, which is, I like the sound of this better than Kim's bass. It's quieter. It has more robustness. It's much better. So in the end, it worked out.
Yeah.
That's the story of that bass. And
Boy,
it's-
that's some bad musical karma to steal.
Yeah.
Steal
Yeah.
an instrument
is.
from Don.
Oh, it happened. I mean, people steal pedals at
They'll never
shows.
be
Yeah.
famous.
I've seen
Or they're also not enjoying their fame.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
seen whole vans get their their
Yeah.
gear taken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
right.
a heist.
Yeah.
You know?
It is.
Yeah.
That is.
Happened to
That
Bad
is.
Brains a couple times over.
It's
Right.
so
Yeah.
sad too because each instrument has a story like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
And I recall when I recorded with you about 10 or 15 years back, you shared that bass, the Jawbreaker bass.
Jawbox.
Pardon me. And also Joe Lawley's Fugazi Music Man,
Yeah.
which is a really cool bass to track with.
Yeah, he took that back for some
Yeah.
reason.
Well-
I don't know why.
Someday I'll have to bug you with those recordings. It was I think it was probably on tape, or it was I think we used the shared tape, the one that we didn't spring money for,
Yeah.
like the house tape.
Yeah.
But if it's on a hard drive somewhere, oh man, what were we called?
could be.
Transient Attack. The
Yeah, it
band
could
was
be.
called Transient
Yeah,
Attack.
I probably do have the files somewhere.
Cool, man. Yeah.
But even both those, even the Stingray bass, I like this better than that. This just is an all-around. Well, it's a P bass, which is kind of like generic bass. Yeah. When people think of a bass, they either think of P bass or a jazz bass.
Yeah.
Generally,
The go-to sound.
exactly, and it's just great bass.
Yeah, it's the SM57 of that bass world, you know.
exactly.
Works. It just
exactly.
works.
It
Yeah.
is. It is.
Ever since I started playing bass, I played bass in the band Monday Mistress, and that was the first time I've ever had to focus on playing the bass. Mm-hmm. And before that, I never really appreciated like the look and the overall sexiness that a bass can have. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know, growing up, people are like, oh, it's just the bass. For some reason, they think just 4 strings doesn't make it tough enough for some reason.
Yeah, is it missing something?
Yeah, it's I grew up in the I was in high school during like the 90s, late 90s, you know, like you had new metal and stuff like that. You need to have 7 strings, and then you were like really a man.
Yeah,
I don't know. But like I really love the bass, and I actually think like the shape of the bass is like super sexy and is like the heaviest, you know, that one pretty much I feel like the heaviest instrument you can have.
Yeah, it is. It is. And some people, you know, bring in 6-string basses, and I'm thinking sometimes why? You know?
What are we compensating for, right?
Yeah,
Aircraft
exactly.
carriers is what they look like, the wide necks and big.
But talking about taking things too, people have had stories of, you know, they've taken a break and people have stolen pedals off the stage.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah.
It happened to Jimi Hendrix a couple times. His early fuzz boxes, they were like housed and rehoused, and the fellow who was like making stuff for him, there's a British guy who worked for like the Royal Navy, but he was also making pedals for Jimmy. Like would have to just keep remaking them because if he couldn't make it out to the show to ensure it was safe, it just didn't make it home.
Wow.
And here, I don't know if you guys agree with me on this, but here's the thing: is like, you know, they sell the pedals of like the Hendrix pedal.
Yeah,
or like,
I think it was Roger
the
Mayer.
fuzz
I can't
face.
recall.
Yeah, there's like this is just like them. You still don't get unless you're Jimi Hendrix, you're not going to get really that sound.
Right. Those people were like just trying to kind of latch onto whatever that vibe, the style, his style. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, everything that goes into it, the guitar, the kind of strings, the amp that's played through. I mean, there's so many other factors. I mean, you can have one of the factors, great, but you really aren't going to have the same sound.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that if you create your own spell, it has a greater effect on your life. But very many people don't have the confidence to do this as beginners. So I think a simple spell is to light the flame of a candle and to sprinkle a circle of salt around the area that holds the candle and you. And then write down on a piece of paper what it is you want to accomplish in very simple statement, maybe a sentence or two. And then burn this in the flame of the candle, all the while concentrating very dynamically upon the effect of the flame. And when you have burned this to an ash, then you know that what you want is about to come your way. The main purpose in the practice of witchcraft is to generate within yourself a very high level of energy that will then carry you successfully through all situations. So the main point is to psych yourself up and reach some kind of an emotional, physical, intellectual high. And this is done through a very rigid, disciplined method of performing a ritual. The people who say they are witches, and there are very many thousands of them in the United States, may or may not be witches. That I don't know. I haven't gone through any special.
Hello, my name is Joe Carabeo.
Joe, tell me about yourself. I mean, I know a little bit about you, but not a whole lot. What are you into? What do you do? Tell me about your whole video thing, audio thing, everything.
That's always such a I'm not going to say weird, but it's a unique question for me now in this stage of my life. Because of course I played music. I started playing, guitar class in like 7th grade, and my mom was a musician, always had a guitar around. And then, my dad, my mom also were photographers too. So of course I took that, you grab from your parents what you know. And so, I'm a comic book writer. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a musician with a few other bands. I also, I run a film festival, an Awesome Con in DC. I do everything, but it all just sort of encompasses storytelling to me. Mm-hmm. And I know that's sort of like it is a hot word, like storytelling. But I feel like everything you can tell a story with, like with music, of course, writing and comics, podcasting too. I had a podcast as well that ran forever, and, that's one of the things, like, with everything I look at, like, so what, when you're writing a song, you're like, or what's the tone? Like, what are we trying to say? Like, how are we supposed to find that? Mm-hmm. But
yeah, it's a story.
it's a story, or there's a story behind it.
Yeah.
You know, it's either you're telling a story or there's a reason why you're playing this song.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's really been always important for me is why am I doing what I'm doing? Like I'm a filmmaker because that's in my heart. When I wake up, you know, I'm even right here. I'm just like, oh, this could be an awesome scene in a movie. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not even by choice. I never feel like anything I've done in my life is by choice. It's like this opportunities that I have to grab. You know, I remember hearing like Hendrix say like, you know, I'm just grabbing the song notes are like in the air. You know, you just got to grab it. The same thing with John Frusciante, which I'm a big fan of. He's like, yeah, you know, he's always like, you know, the universe is just giving you songs. Sometimes you just got to be able to be there to do it. And I feel like sometimes that's how my life is. Sometimes I'm like, someone's like, oh, do you play bass? I'm like, I do a little bit. All of a sudden now I play bass in the band. I just feel like.
Are you the bass player for Monday Mistress?
I am the bass player in Monday Mistress.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you're not the guitar player.
I'm not the guitar player, but it's a unique situation where I'm also the main songwriter, and that's just how things came together. Where for some reason I felt more comfortable writing songs from a bass perspective. Though yeah, I play guitar, but for some reason like there's a clash in melodies in my head where I just feel like more in the pocket when playing bass. Maybe because I have less to worry about. I don't know if that makes any sense.
It could be freeing. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because like I know, like when I play guitar, I feel like there's a certain responsibility that I have to do other stuff too.
Yeah.
But with bass, I feel like I can focus on a structure.
Do you sing you don't sing in the band?
Not in Monday Mistress, but in another band I was in, Mickey and Mallory, which I actually played guitar. I sang in that one. It was a mixture of both.
Yeah.
And I do background in Monday Mistress for singing.
I find playing guitar and singing far, far easier than playing bass and singing.
It's
I
unique,
don't know
right?
if that's
Coordination when it comes to singing, the bass can be harder for some reason for me as well. I can strum broad movements, like I think it's probably got to do with like motor skills, but like the fine little movements while talking is even.
I think I heard a story.
Challenge.
Wasn't it like Jimmy Page started like playing bass in like the Yardbirds? Is that what it was?
And then he moved on to guitar as the opportunity arose.
I think that stuck in my head. I'm like, well, Jimmy Page started in bass. Maybe they're like he probably played a lot of other things, but in my head, you know, like it's like computed, like, oh, maybe the bass is how everything should be put together.
Oh,
you know.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate the bass. I'm always now like vouching for the bass. I'm like, you guys don't knock on the bass. Like I've been told, like before a show when you know you meet other fans or new people and they go down the lines like, oh, so what do you do? What do you do? And then someone's like, oh, you play bass. Oh, you're just no one really hears what you do. You know what I mean?
Well, it's a step above the drummer.
Yeah. But like it's funny because like in Monday Mistress, like in the band, I'm just like, well, you're gonna hear me.
Yeah.
Because like there's a certain attack that I have in Monday Mistress where it's like, you know, I use a combination of, I guess someone said I go at the bass like how Tom Morello goes at his guitar.
Oh, how interesting! Yeah.
So it's like I even have like a you know, like there's again with the pedal like I can do that, and I add like the wah to it. Yeah. And then I have you know, I'm a pedal fan. What is it? The micro synth? Have you used the micro synth?
I've not personally ever owned one, but yeah, they are fun. Yeah.
It is probably the most like nastiest pedal for a bass I've ever conjured up. Like to me, and I literally stole this from one of Jack White's bands, the Dead Weather, and the bassist there, Jack Lawrence, had 2 micro synths like back to back, and to me this gets the most destructive growl that you can get out of a bass sound, but you can also control the attack. So, you know how like Tom Morello likes to do like space sounds?
Sure.
So I'm able to do like a space sound on the bass by sustaining one note, and then there's an attack that you can ride, and I have a digital delay, so it literally sounds like the score of Dune.
I see, ethereal kind of thing, soundscapes. Wow. Yeah,
so soundscapes with bass, I was like, cool, that's a way of going at it.
Paging Mr. Eno.
Yeah.
But if you get it really, really grungy, don't the notes somehow get lost? I guess it depends on the pedal, too.
And that's what's unique, is I have the micro synth, but I also have was the bass, not baseballs, but what is the bass muff? Like I forget what the name of it. Is this a bass muff?
Yeah. Electro Harmonics has made a lot of different versions of the big
it's like
muff
that green
pedal.
one.
Yeah.
And I have them side by side. The bass muff gets more muffled because it has that. But for some reason, the microsynth is so tight with its notes that it fills a lot of space, but the drop off is fast. So you can go bah, 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 without
the decay, that kind of stuff.
You can control that, and it's just everyone. A lot of times after each show, people would come up to me and they'd be like, "Where did you? That's what I've been looking for." And I was like, "It's just that, dude. It's not a cheap pedal. It's like $300, dude." But I think that's how you know it's good. The more expensive it is, right?
It's been around for decades for sure. It's a good thing. Popular with funk too.
Yeah.
Envelope filtering and all that. Yeah.
Because they had like another pedal I was always eyeing that I've never seen before. Or that I've never played before. It's called like the not baseballs. I think it was just called like Ass Master or Bass Master.
Yeah, right.
Have you played that?
No, but yeah, that's like the one with the pink triangle.
Yeah, the
on
pink
it.
triangle.
Yeah, right. It's a reissue of an older unit. Yeah.
I'm always like on Reverb. I'm like, is this ever going to go down below $100?
Yeah.
So it sounds like you collect pedals. Am I wrong?
Well, I do collect pedals, but there became a certain point where I was collecting them to fill the pedal board. But now the pedal board's full.
Let's do a roll call. This is Wilfredo Morales.
Joe?
Hello, my name is Joe Carabeo.
I'm Catherine Riccio.
And I'm Don Zantera.
You don't need to beat nature into submission. Why be hostile to nature? Because after all, you are a symptom of nature. You, as a human being, you grow out of this physical universe in just exactly the same way that an apple grows off an apple tree. So the existence of people is symptomatic of the kind of universe we live in.
Yeah. Pedal
Sure.
boards are
Yeah, there's
interesting.
a lot of players that just cannot play without their pedal boards.
You too, like that's all pedal. Like the edges technique is intrinsically tied to it.
And that's one of the things that's really interesting too. Like, because I remember I was watching It Might Get Loud, right? And then the Edge would say like, I'm really just playing this note, but then when he puts all the pedals on, it's like, wow, like all this. And like, I'm actually just playing dun, dun, dun. So in Monday Mistress, it was always interesting because when I'd come when I would present a song, you know, I'd record it like on my phone and it'll be a bass riff. And I bet it'd feel weird when people just hear like a bass riff that's just two notes. And I'm like, this sounds great. And it's just like, dun, 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 dun. Like, I don't know how can I play through this? See how it goes?
Sure.
So like, literally, like one of the Monday Mistress song, "Way Out," just goes like. So I played that on the bass, and I presented that to them. And in my head, I'm thinking like for people who think like I need to have the most complex song. I'm like, people are just thinking I'm like, dun, 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 dun. But I'm envisioning like this big scope of music. But I feel like if I present it like a bass line, people are like, what is that? That's just like...
Oh, so you compose with your pedals.
Yeah. So, but then when you add the micro synth to that, all of a sudden it's like, but like in my head, I hear the dun, dun, dun.
Interesting.
Yeah, so...
Neat.
But you still got to do it live. That's the fun part.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Being able to
That is
reproduce it. Yeah, I think that, well, you know, like that's, like whatever, like the convictions or opinions, the ethics of it or whatever, you know, of every artist, like studio performances versus live and stuff. I do agree. It, from like a old world point of view, it's really cool to be able to do it, you know, without the aid of a trigger or a sample.
Like it has to, I feel like that's the soul. When you strip it all down, it should still resonate. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
So I guess that's the saying. It's like if you take it all away, it still should work like on acoustic.
Oh, yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah, if you were to play an unplugged gig, you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could, I mean, how far down can you take it? You know, can you play it on just one string on the guitar with no pedals? I mean,
sometimes you'd have to. Like, I had one Monday Mistress song, my string popped in the middle of a song. I'm like, well, I gotta figure out where it goes on this string, dude. So, isn't there a saying too? And, I'm not big music theory person, or I'm not, I don't know all the notes in the world, but isn't there a saying like, if you can hum it, you can play it?
Yeah,
right?
totally. That's an approach. Yeah, totally.
Like, isn't that, so I guess that's the breakdown. If you can hum it, then I guess that's where it comes from.
For sure.
And it's weird. In the shower, I've had those moments where I'm like, you're humming something, and you're like, I need to record this thing. So, of course, out of the shower, you get the recorder, you just gotta get it in there.
Yeah. I beatbox into the phone all the time.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. I think that's like the best point. I think that's the most purest part of your idea is right there.
Yeah.
Well, for Monday Mistress, what are some of the highlights that you had on some of the shows? Some of the good play, some and some lesser than good times.
Well, it's unique because Monday Mistress like existed in between like another band that I was in. Like Monday Mistress was at its most like 5 people in the band, and then the other band I was playing in, Mickey and Mallory, which is a duo. So I had this back and forth of like, how is it to be like a singer-songwriter while also playing
Mickey and Mallory, what are the instruments there?
So I played guitar, and then Jessica, she would play bass.
Okay.
And then we would have a rotating drum, like a drummer.
Okay.
At the same time. So it was unique for me to have to separate it. Like, knowing that, okay, now you're writing for a band of these groups, and then, of these elements, and now this is like, almost like a White Stripes type of, the Kills type of duo. So it has different energy and different type of singing to it. So my favorite part of playing with Monday Mistress was it felt like we were a bigger gang going to battle. Does that make sense?
Safety in numbers.
Yeah, safety in numbers.
Sure.
But with Mickey and Mallory, I guess we could play anywhere because we're just like a duo. So you have that intimacy. So it's like, this is the you work in the small box and then you work in the big box. Even though the White Stripes, they can play anywhere too. But my favorite parts of performing with the Monday Mistress was
which is a 5-piece.
Which is a 5-piece. Then became a 4-piece. So at its most it was 5 and 4. It's gonna sound weird, but I love driving with bands. But I also, there's something about when you're setting up on the stage, like before each show, I actually love the setup. I'm a behind the scenes guy too, so I'm like
production.
I'm a production, so I'm like, man, all right, we got this thing set, we're ready to go. But a lot of times, because I always record like each one of the shows, and I not really love, but I love it now where something wrong happens in the beginning of the song, with like one of my rigs or something like that, and then at the end of the song, I'm like, okay, everything's back. Everything's back to where it is. You know what I mean?
Wow.
But it's weird because I can still separate myself somehow when I'm playing on stage and watch my band. And I think that's what I really loved is, you still love that connection, and you still love that, and you love the fact that like we all created these songs that now we can go out there and, show the world.
I have to say, WERA they have amazing programming, and I'm not just kissing.
Yeah, they do.
Hello, my name is Joe Carabeo. I always bring this up whenever the drummer in Monday Mistress, Mike, which is also my cousin, I feel like our favorite memories are when this is going to sound bad, but when we sort of get violent on stage, but with each other. I don't know.
The history you have with your cousin, a family connection.
Yeah, and what's amazing is Mike is the guy that introduced me into playing music and professional wrestling. But he introduced me when I was growing up. He had a
what a
drum
mix.
set. It's a good mix. He's got to hit something.
Yeah.
But in his house,
So when you get violent on stage,
Yeah.
But it's sort of it happened with Mickey and Mallory too. I don't know what it is, but I feel like I always remember like Kurt Cobain diving into the drums.
Yeah.
I remember Billy Joe Armstrong like destroying the drum set and setting it on fire. For some reason, I'm like, that's how you know it's a good show.
So violence against the drummer specifically.
well, you are commanding or trying to command attention when you're on stage, and if you are too normal, it's going to sort of just sink into the background, which is for some venues it works, but for other venues where like everyone's watching you, you've got to give them something to watch, right?
Where it's true. It's like the same thing when you're making a movie. It's like when you're done watching the movie, what did they take away from it? What did you get? When you watch a show, like to me, I was talking about the Kills earlier on. One of my favorite moments is when I was front row 930 Club watching the Kills and Jamie's guitar just malfunctions, right? And this is not good for them, but I see him and his team like trying to get like, what's the song? What's the sound? I can't figure out what's going on. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, Jamie's trying to play, but then he's still trying to get the crowd into it while they're trying to figure it out. Wow. And this is when I know like, okay, they're not just going out and playing the hits. Mm-hmm. They're still trying to make it happen. Yeah. Eventually they got it. And I told Jamie after the show, I literally went up to him after the show when he was going to his bus. I was like, that moment when your team was trying to get the sound back of your guitar, that was one of the greatest things I ever saw, because I saw him get pissed. I saw him like at the beginning, he was like, what's going on with this? And this guy's like, what? I can't figure it out. They're unplugging stuff. And then he's playing one note, then it goes out. And then he's like, you can see him get really, really mad and then still try to get the crowd into it.
Yeah.
And then Alison Mossart sees it too, sees that Jamie's in trouble and has to put up, carry the other half of that show.
It's a human interest story, an angle that, you wouldn't expect, right? Yeah.
And totally. I told Jamie that. I was like, dude, that was so great. He's like, I'm happy it was great for you.
Yeah. Well, everybody's looking to try to be perfect, but the imperfect times are quite interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Candid.
Very candid.
That's the story. You know what I mean? Or else it's, no, I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't seen any pop acts like in person. Like I haven't seen like name of Katy Perry. I've never seen Katy Perry like live. I don't know how their shows go, but I assume a lot of it's like choreographed, right?
Sure, yes. Arranged
and re-recorded too.
And re-recorded too, right?
Yeah.
So then, like, what am I going to go see besides like someone who's famous? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, specifically choreography, the dancing as well, right? It's a show. It's a more closer to akin like an opera kind of thing.
And I might have a natural rebellion to that because, like my brother was in like choir and like in drama class, and my cousin, Charlene, she was on like Miss Saigon, like in New York and stuff like that. And so I've always been used to like, I don't know what it is, but like Filipinos, I don't know what are you, I don't know.
I'm a Bolivian.
Yeah. But like like, I don't know if it's Bolivia, if they like a lot of choreographed and pop and dance and stuff like that, but like the Filipino culture, I see a lot of that. Like, and I just get so sick of saying that.
I think I've heard it called camp. Like, to have something that's campy or like big, like it's like to revel in it is there's it's I get what you mean though. Like culturally, there's an affinity for that. Yeah, it's multimedia for sure. Performance, StageCraft.
Yeah, one of the times I went to the Philippines, and my goal was to specifically just buy a guitar there. Because you just have to have something.
Do they make good guitars there?
I don't know. I didn't know that. I was just like,
all right.
idea if it was going to be good or not.
Okay.
But when I went there, and I was trying out the guitar, and then they're like, "Oh, do you play?" I'm like, "Yeah, I play a little bit." It's like, then somehow it got finagled that I was going to open up for this band. All right.
How did it go from? Oh, never mind.
Well,
go ahead.
It's my
Holy cow!
Yeah, like my aunt would say something, and then they're like, "Oh, we have a show. You should come to the show." Then before the show, they're like, "Do you come from the United States? You want to play something?" And I'm like, "Okay, I don't really." That's cool. And this is like, it's like a club, and this is when I started to realize, like, at that time, like, bands weren't a big thing over there. Mm-hmm. So I came in like, I'm talking about like rock and roll, not like, they have like lots of ballads is what I'm saying. They play a lot of ballads. So when I went in there playing a solo rock and roll show, afterwards they were sort of like, "Oh, okay, that was fun." You know what I mean? But they would tell me like, "Oh, so you like that band thing?" Like they would say like, "So you like the stuff with the bands?" Like that's like a whole entire different identity.
It's not folk. It's not folk.
But like that band and rock and roll. So that's when I started realizing that like, like different cultures has a soul, like a soul thing that they like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Could also be a generational thing.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, like I've locally growing up in the area, I've had Filipino friends and friends like in that community, and I will say some of the like most hardcore like metal or hardcore shows were like 4 dudes raging, like at a barbecue,
Yeah. And also like what's the guitarist of Metallica? He's Filipino.
Oh, okay. There you go.
There's lots of great rocking Filipinos. Maybe that's what happens. It's like they have that then
the conservative parents that then bear down on them, and they find metal rock.
And that's also what I like about when you see people on stage too. Like I as a filmmaker, I work a lot with the band My Kid Brother, and they do great shows. They played, and I've filmed their live performances and a bunch of their music videos. But their piano player, her name is Piano. She's very like quiet, like off stage, and like like very standoffish. And she told me like, but once I go on that stage, I don't feel bad at all. This is literally where I get to cut loose. But the moment I'm off stage, nothing.
Some people are the opposite.
Yeah.
It's really strange. It really is strange. Matter of fact, there's been many times where I thought, okay, this person, they got a personality that's going to be great on stage. They're going to kill this crowd. And it's sort of like crickets, sort of like they don't know what to talk about. There's nothing too much going on. But then they go off and it's, it's a party.
I don't know if you guys got this, but like, I always had several friends where they would look at like a front man or a front woman and they're like, I can do that. And then in the back of my head, I was like, I don't know if you can.
Yeah.
Like,
it takes a lot. Yeah.
That is like a skill.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm like, one of my favorite ones. I don't know. It's really weird, but I've been paying attention to like female front women. I'm like, again, we're talking about Alison Mosshart is one of my favorite female front women of like all time. And Hayley Williams from Paramore just blows my mind. And you like Paramore?
Yeah. She's
like
fantastic. Her voice. This tiny little woman has this amazing voice.
And she just commands that stage too.
God, yeah.
And I'm just like in awe of that. It's weird because like I'm a guy, I don't even know if this is a sexist thing, but I'm like, how can I do what they do?
Yeah. It's true. And you could tell when someone is awkward up there too.
Yeah.
I've seen some bands where, okay, 2 more songs till we take a break. And you could see it. They're thinking, my God, hopefully he's go quick. And it's just, it just really, it's a gift, I think, if you can get up there and just keep the show flowing along. It's just so hard.
Don, do you have, in your opinion, from your perspective, ways of how to coach like a front person? If you like it,
I think it takes a personality. I really do. I mean, you could probably work at it, and you could probably study and have a bunch of jokes in your pocket and different things to say, talking about the news, talking about what's happening in world events and all that stuff. But, you know, there's a certain personality that just can come up there on stage and they could just go. And I've seen some people for 2 hours, Henry Rollins, for example, 2 hours just shoot by. They could just talk, and it sounds like you just met them on the street, and they're as natural and as calm and easygoing as you want. And they just take over.
And I feel like that is part of, like, I think when I was young, I was always shy, you know, like when I had to go up in front of the class and talk about like a book that I read or any type of anything, really. And
public speaking,
public speaking, because it didn't make sense to me. I didn't really gravitate towards like how to do it. But I think there was something later on in life that clicked like once you're on the stage in front of these people, you're just like, it's do or die, man.
or it clicks that, hey, I'm not getting anything out of being shy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's not getting me anywhere. We had on StageCraft, we've had Toastmasters on here.
Oh yeah.
That you know, have talked about the whole thing, and it's really interesting because it's an art.
Let's do a roll call. This is Wilfredo Morales.
Joe?
Hello, my name is Joe Carabeo.
I'm Catherine Riccio.
And I'm Don Zentera.
So Jim Morrison like equated performance to like shamanism, and like you're on stage and that's the altar, and you're like you're conveying some kind of emotion, and you're trying to project that onto the people or get them to either get excited or, you know, sell them on whatever it is you're pitching. The guitarist of ZZ Top, he's a pastor or a reverend, and you know they use like totem poles, and they bring their own rugs with them, and they set a setting when they were like touring and whatnot, you know, when they were active. Yeah, so there's a lot of angles and a lot of things going on, and maybe it's subconscious or something, but totally, like I think there's this angle that's almost like a priesthood or something. What we're up to in some setting.
Well, I think that's actually totally true, because like it is, we are looking up, because there's a part in every mass where every church where you're looking and everyone's eyes are on a single person. And, you know, depending on the church, they also could be singing and performing too. You know what I mean? So they do come hand in hand. I remember like Good Charlotte saying like, this is our church.
Oh,
you know,
really?
They're performing up there. Welcome to church, guys. This is where we, you know, celebrate and worship, and then they rock out. You know what I mean? So
that's great.
Prince said like dearly beloved, you know, invoking that kind of feeling too.
Neat.
I love that aspect of it though, because it is, whether people want to or not, this is your moment to say whatever you want. That's why it makes me so sad when I see someone not like fully embracing like this. Say anything.
Yeah, right.
Say anything. I remember Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance would just say like make something, motherfuckers. You know, would just yell out these random inspiring things.
Yeah.
Jerry Garcia apparently would do that, like play, motherfucker, you know, like to his bandmates.
Neat.
It is that sort of release.
It is a release. And it's a release for the crowd, too.
Yeah.
And it's up to the front person, whoever it is, to get the crowd to release rather than to just stand there.
I don't know if you guys are a fan of Wu-Tang. Are you a fan of Wu-Tang?
Yeah.
Don, do you like Wu-Tang Clan?
I've heard a few of their songs. Yeah, that's good.
I've seen Wu-Tang Clan.
I haven't seen them live.
They opened up. There's a joke. There's always a running joke where like, you know, like you can't tell who's saying what on stage except for one person. You can't tell who's who except for one person, Method Man. And I saw Wu-Tang Clan open up for Rage Against the Machine at Rock the Bells in New York. And Method Man would always say, the energy that you guys give to us, we'll give it back to you. And I always thought that was great. It's like the audience is part of this. So if you guys give us, you know, if you give us that energy, if you cheer, we will rock out even harder for you.
Yeah, and the opposite is true
And
too.
the opposite too, yeah.
Yeah, of course. We should have another song. Do you guys want to change off?
All right.
Would you like to play bass?
What do you feel?
What are you feeling? Sure.
I don't know where to pick one.
It's all okay. I see what you mean. Yeah.
Want me to sit over there? Or you want to sit
Yeah, right. The cable might be easier on you. Just take it slow. Cables.
Don, do you know where my coat went?
Yes, it's right here.
Is it okay if I grab it real quick?
Yeah. Let me get it for you. This is it?
Yeah.
I'm
Might
sorry.
be into it, might not be into
Yeah, I've got the window open. You want me to close the window?
it. Oh, no, I just need something from the pocket.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you're cold or not.
My phone for too long.
Can I hear your E?
Don, did this ever have the pickguard covers on it?
Huh?
Are you a fan of that? When they have like the you know, you can have.
Oh,
like, that silver-
yes. No. That's exactly the way I got it, and that's the way I left it.
Were you ever a fan of those when you have?
Not really. I mean, they look nice because they're usually chrome, but yeah.
How do you want to start, Bob?
Is
So
the volume? Oh, there it is.
yeah. So how about like an E, C, D for a little bit? Maybe A.
ECD, maybe it is.
Yeah, it's a classic. You can't go wrong.
this can get if you slow it real down.
Maybe that's a good part too. Let it breathe.
Nice jam. Nice jam. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the main.
I hear that now.
Yeah.
That last.
I don't get too complicated. And then one goes like. Maybe in the same tempo. I can't really figure that.
Why don't you guys start out with a song?
Just like a jam?
Yeah, just
Yeah, I'll follow you. I'll follow you wherever you're heading.
Did you already get? You already have levels?
No, check. Yeah, yeah. We'll be fine.
We're starting, right? We're starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
You're listening to
You wanna-
StageCraft.
StageCraft on WERA. Let's do
Yeah.
a roll call. This is Wilfredo Morales.
Joe?
Hello, my name is Joe Carabeo.
I'm Catherine Riccio.
And I'm Don Zantera.
Well, so let's start off with some music. Let's do it, Joe.
All right, this is my friend here. Let's see what happens.